Hey Pilates teachers, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about teaching clients who come into your studio with spinal stenosis. Most of the clients who I've seen with stenosis have lumbar stenosis, but it can also happen in the cervical spine as well. And this is basically a narrowing of the spinal canal that is typically age related. The issue with having stenosis is that typically hyperextension makes stenosis worse. Okay, so here's where, we get into some of the intricacies of seeing clients with lower back pain. Okay, because a client with a posterior disc herniation needs a completely different program to a client with stenosis. However, sometimes you can have, as I've had, a client who has both stenosis and a posterior disc herniation, and then you really need to be super careful about what you're doing. Now, in general, keeping the pelvis neutral, and I don't talk about neutral spine, my friends, but I do talk about neutral pelvis because, the pelvis is two bones. It's relatively big, and we can kind of find the bony landmarks on the pelvis pretty easily. So it's pretty easy to define a pelvis that is not too anteriorly or posteriorly tilted. I don't always use the term neutral pelvis. I'll use heavy sacrum and tail. I'll use wide hip bones. I use all kinds of phrasing, but essentially what I'm doing is trying to get somebody into a neutral pelvis. Somebody with stenosis can also often use a slight posterior pelvic tilt, okay? And that slight posterior pelvic tilt just helps open up the spaces between the vertebrae a little bit in the back and leads to a little bit less irritation of the nerves in those folks. So you're going to find that your clients with stenosis don't feel great if they're on their stomachs for a long period of time. They don't feel great when they're doing a lot of exercises in hyperextension. But for those who also have posterior disc herniations, it is important to keep the back of the body muscles strong. Okay, and this is where you just have to be super careful with them. There are some easy fixes and modifications that you can use for clients with stenosis. One of them is you can put a folded hand towel right under their pelvises, right under their hip crease, so that it becomes a little bit easier to pull up through their abdominal muscles and keep that slight posterior pelvic tilt going while they are working the back body, right? So, for example, you want to teach them how to do a little bit of hip extension, sending the leg back without going into a lot of lumbar extension. So, these folks, again, just need a different kind of work and a different kind of attention. In general, rounding exercises feel great for people with stenosis. So anything on all fours, any cat-cow work, any upstretch on the reformer, teasers, things like that feel great for those people. However, if, again, these folks also have posterior disc herniations or osteoporosis or other complications, then those positions may not be great for them for the other stuff. So you kind of have to balance this all out. Now, this is actually what I teach in the Pilates for Back Pain eCourse. The whole point of that eCourse is to give you all of the modifications, the variations, the tools, the tips, everything you need to teach Pilates mat. And it's the full Pilates mat. It's the full classical mat with pre-Pilates. I also go through the standing footwork. I go through the wall exercises. I go through reformer on the mat. So there are some added exercises and some bonuses that come in for things that will help you teach your clients. But I give you basically everything that I've used in my over 30 years of teaching Pilates and working with clients with varying causes of back pain. So we will talk about the different causes of back pain. We're going to talk about disc herniations. We're going to talk about stenosis, talk a little bit about osteoporosis. We'll talk about spondylolisthesis. We'll talk about sacroiliac dysfunction. We just kind of talk about everything. And then I seriously just take you through all of it, through the entire mat, through everything. And we break every single exercise down into what everyone can do, what the full exercise looks like, and then how to modify it or have a placeholder for folks with different causes of lower back pain. Ultimately, my goal is to always have my clients do as close to all of the exercises as they can if they're advanced clients. So I've come up with placeholders and modifications for every single thing going through the entire advanced mat. If you purchase the Pilates for Back Pain eCourse now before the end of the year, you will not only get it at 2020 prices, but if you use coupon code BY2020, as in BYE 2020, you will save an additional 30%. And that again is only good through Thursday the 31st. So if you found anything that I taught in this short video to be useful for you and your clients, I would love to invite you to get the full Pilates for Back Pain eCourse. You will earn 12 PMA or National Pilates Certification Program, CECs, when you pass the exam after you take the course. It is a self-led course with ebook, videos, audios, all kinds of information. And you will finish that course fully confident in teaching all of your clients with all of their causes of lower back pain, whether you're seeing them in the studio or at home. Plus, if you've never learned the full classical mat, you'll learn it, you'll learn the order of it, and you'll learn how to do all of those exercises. So I hope that's useful for you. You can just go to pilatesbackpain.com or backpainpilates.com. And again, just use the code BY2020 and you will get 30% off the 2020 price on the Pilates for Back Pain eCourse. Thank you so much for listening to me. I will put links to everything